Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another group session. Friday is our group session that allows you to come in and share something, or not only to share something, but your chance to be able to listen to what others have to say. I am Nisi, last name is Robinson, and I am the director and oh, excuse me, facilitator of the Healing Center and the group. The group is every Friday and ongoing. Welcome. We will, from time to time, ladies and gentlemen, have group sessions that will be directed for women and also men. And then you will come together like you've done right now. Just in case you're wondering, you can find us on our Facebook page live. The information for you is right there at facebook.com, right where we are, Vibe-Talk. I did myself a favor and I was able to send out the women's workshop that we did last week to women who have impacted my life in one way or another. I thought that would be a great offset to the women to find empowerment. And even if you do already have empowerment, you can share it with people that really need a lift. Anything that we do here at Vibetalkfacingthelion podcast and Healing Center is for anyone who'd like to join. Friday is a really good way, since it is ongoing, and you see the flyer. It's posted outside of our window here, as you see. You can take your cameras, your phone cameras, and you can scan the QR code. It will tell you a lot about our sessions. Today we're going to talk about I am enough. How many of you have actually heard the words I am enough? Well, are you? I want you to know before we start, because we're not really ready to start, but I want to be able to answer questions and open the line. By the way, the line is open for you. It's live. And it is open. So if you want to have me answer any questions, now would be the time to do this. We have about 6 minutes before the group starts. And we are live. I want the group session, people to become aware of the group session, because it is a way for you to get communicated with people. You know, sometimes we have people that may not be comfortable with coming to a group session. But our group session is about connection to feelings and emotions that you may not be aware that other people are sharing the same emotions Not the same experience, but the same emotions. And you get to see with challenges how others have a survival story. Everyone that has come here today has a survival story. And what I want you to know is that your survival story matters. Survival. Whatever it is that you are surviving, let's talk about that. And you'll see me right on the board. Those of you who are online, you can't see me right. I'm going to ask everyone that comes to the group, please, to bring whiteboards. We do have them here. I work a lot with whiteboards. I love them. When I was teaching the young people, I use them. They're wonderful because you can write, you can wipe off, you can change your thought, and even erase it. So we're going to talk about I am enough. And we're going to dig deep. Every subject that we talk about has to do with the human emotion and how we feel. Do we compare our feelings to others? We shouldn't. Do we compare our feelings to someone maybe that has gone through similar survival stories, similar challenges? Are we doing that? Because we should not. Everyone has a survival story. I want to write that. And you know me, I write all over the board. So I'm going to start with this. Everyone has a survival story. That's everyone. Everyone has that. I want you to know that. Everyone. How we got over, how we became, how we started. I never want to hear the words in a negative way, how it ended. I always want how it ended to be something positive. Survival story, what challenges you, or what has challenged you. What has challenged you? What challenges you? Okay, we all have that. I want us to think about how we can just get through the day. The thing that I love about the Finally Friday, tell you a little bit about that. Finally Friday is what we do on our podcast. And if you have been with me long enough, please go visit our YouTube page. Our YouTube page is all about programming and what we've done for the last 6 years, and you get to see it and you get to enjoy what you see. Finally Friday was a thing that we put together because what happens on Friday? It's the end of the week. We feel somewhat tired. We feel as though the whole week has just been busy, overwhelming, chaotic, and you're just ready for the weekend. And it doesn't mean the end. You get to, though, talk about it. We know that this hour is a lot of people working. We know that at this hour that people are in their offices just like I'm in mine today. So what we've done as a healing center, we've left it up to you to bring this into the healing center so that you know, what are we talking about? Because we want you to know how we got started. And so after doing the podcast for Finally Friday and challenges, and we asked the question, what challenges have you been through, past and present? With people calling in, and you can hear that too on our YouTube channel, with people calling in, people had a lot of challenges. Their challenges was anywhere from getting new jobs to driving a car for the first time in the big city. And you got to hear this, and if you wanted, you could call in. So this is our way of inviting everyone in the community and around the globe. Anybody can join in on Finally Friday group sessions. Many people want to know, well, when are you open? Anytime you want to come down and talk. But as a group, our group sessions are on Friday. Friday. That is the day. So my co-host and I decided this is a good day for Finally Friday. My co-host, Trish, you might have heard her do so beautifully Trish's Treasures, which is part of our Vibe Talk Facing the Lion Healing Center. So, today's discussion, as we get right into it, is about being enough. What does that mean? You know, because you hear people say, I'm not good enough. People may have said to you, you're not good enough. What is that implying when people say that, or when you said that? Well, you are asking yourself, or believing in yourself in a way of questioning yourself. You are asking of yourself, believing in yourself, or questioning yourself. Am I enough? How so? Sometimes people don't need outside validation. So one of the things that we want to look at is validation of yourself. Validation comes from the word value. Self. Value of yourself. Feeling perhaps you aren't good enough. Or always needing, I'm going to pull my chair up over here, excuse me, while I do that, excuse me. Are you valuable? Let's talk about that. Valuable. And you all can take a picture of this if you want to. Valuable. Which turns into other words of worthy. Worthy. We look at into that. Accept it. Exception, I should say. Accept. So we're working with that today. Are you able to look beyond that? Do you deserve to count things that you believe in? I have had artists, I have had teachers, I have had people that have worked in law, I have had normal people who don't have a title question themselves. And if you believe this or not, I have even questioned that. And here's what you hear. It is worthy, valuable, accepted. We're going to talk about that. When it comes to being enough, we're going to use these as if it were right, if it were routine. Let's talk about that for a moment. You know, a lot of people, when they come to the healing center, they don't know what to expect. And here you think or feel it's going to be a yoga with a man or a woman sitting on a mat in a pose. But asking yourself, more than that, are you enough? The affirmation that we want to build from, if you're not feeling that way, is, and I want to help you with these affirmations. Affirmations are confirming with yourself positivity. So today's affirmation I'm okay. And we add that because I've had this week in talking in one of my podcasts about people saying they're okay. What are you okay with? I want you to honor that. I want you to complete that. I want you to be able to say, I am okay the way I am. I'm okay the way I am. The first time you say it, perhaps you're not going to believe that because nobody told you you were okay the way you are. Maybe you've had someone tell you that's not okay when you've done your best and they still want more from you and they suck the life out of you because they want their best and not your best. I want to stop you there for a moment because I used to tell my children when they were younger to do their best. We all have expectations, right? We all do. We expect things of ourselves, and we're going to talk about that. If not today, we will get to that because some of us may not have any expectation whatsoever. But our being able to look at ourselves and say, I did my very best. That is the completion of I'm okay. I'm okay. I did my very best. So when my children were little, I used to always say, when they were younger, school age, do your very best, not the teacher's best. Because what happens to us is that we start to believe that we want to be accepted, we want to be valued, and according to their best, we start to rate ourselves. And I encourage you, educators, don't do that. If it is their very best, let them come on in. Come on in. We are in discussion of I am enough. And we have a guest. Thank you for coming. And we have today, we don't do names, guys. We don't do names because anybody that's here, I want them to feel comfortable. Sometimes I'm in this room, and I'm in this room by myself. Thank you for coming today. Affirmations. We were talking about being okay. How many times have we felt like what we've done, it's okay? We might bake a cake, and it might be our very best. And we look at that cake and we say, that wasn't good enough. Or we want somebody else's opinion. And based on what they say, what do we do? What do we do? What do you think we do based on what they say?
We either get validated or not validated.
You see that?
Oh, validation, there it is.
Yeah. And you're more than welcome to speak out, guys. For those of you who are online, I am enough. I am enough. I'm okay the way I am. When we say, oh, I'm okay, I want all of you to think about, what are you okay with? Because maybe somebody's beating the snot out of you, and you say, and I ask you how you're feeling, and you say, I'm okay. I want you to include what you mean by that. That is validating your feelings, and that is helping me to listen or helping you to hear how you feel. How about this one? I am worthy. We're going over affirmations. I am worthy. How many of you have said that about yourself?
Not often enough.
I love that. Thank you. Did you guys hear what our guests have said? Not often enough. We need to remind ourselves. How do we remind ourselves of I am worthy? Let me give you some scenarios before we answer that question. We need to find out, remember what I said? Why not? Which is why. What makes us feel this way? Unworthy. What makes us feel unworthy, and where did your unworthiness? Oh. Where did your unworthiness start? And when? So the three things that we need to ask, if we're not feeling like we're unworthy, or we're not feeling like I am worthy, why? What makes us feel that way? Where did it start? Our guest has said not often enough. So, when we say not often enough, we need to think about those four things. There's always a what, there's always a why, and there's always, when did I start feeling like this? It's like if you have a child, your child says, I got a stomach ache. Are you supposed to figure out her stomach ache? Well, she just told you, right? So that makes sense.
Okay.
She just told you she has a stomach ache. You don't go, where? You start feeling the stomach ache. Or they say, I hurt. The brain has a way of hurting. And when that makes you feel you're not worthy, your brain hurts. Did you guys know that? That you have a brain hurt? Because someone has told you otherwise. Someone has said that, whether it is in your consciousness of your development as you have started your primary years, or someone has made you feel unworthy. Everybody get that? So when we remind ourselves, why do we not feel this way? Because maybe somebody didn't say it enough. Somebody didn't hug you enough to say, you really did a great job. I love the way you did that. Right? Giving encouragement. I know when I was teaching years ago the young, what happened with the young is that the young, they're waiting for praise. Let's take for example, and I'm going to always, with all of you that are listening, because I know you are, with all of you who are listening, I'm going to always say to you, refer back to your childhood. And I always ask people, what was your childhood? Why do I ask that? Because I want to hurt you more? No. I want to ask you that because that's the founding of you. So let's start with Crayolas. What does Crayolas have to do with this conversation and affirmation and my teaching? Let's put it together. Affirmations of worthiness. When a child has a box of crayons, Crayola has become so marketable that we've been using it for years. It's been on the market for years. For years. What do? We have our children color. And around the tables, we might have a box of crayons for every child. And we might have a picture. Yeah, that child does. Because nobody's in that child's brain. Everybody's going to pick a different color. So you're not going to get 5 children with 5 blue dinosaurs. You might even get some colors that are mixed colors. Do we tell that child, I don't like that? We praise that child. Good job. And they're so happy that you've got 5 excited kids that believe they're worthy because why? Because they know their worth. Unless someone stops us and says, Timmy, you need to do that over. How crushing would that be to you? So as you've grown up and you passed the Crayola stage, I like Crayola still. I got a box of them at home. 64 colors. Right? We love crayons over here. But what I want to tell you guys, you can affirm to be worthy. You can affirm to be okay. Just the way you are. Another thing, how many of you feel deserving?
Not always.
Not always? I agree. I'm going to tell you a story that makes me cry. And I admit it. Because this really happened to me. I gotta write it. So that's gonna give me a minute. I'm deserving. Let's just take that word. Because that's a powerful word. Because nobody wants it. I deserve it. Yeah. That's me. No one does that in reality. Don't believe the hype on Instagram. I had a story. You know, we all struggle. And I was going through some things. And I was on the phone talking to someone that was is very close to me. And I was ranting and I was raving. And I was like, why is this happening? I don't know what to do. The person was talking to me. I wasn't even aware of what was going to happen to me in the next 5 minutes. Lo and behold, I see someone walking toward me, and they say, I was told to come to you. Here you go. In that packet was $200. I needed it. Now, why do I tell you my story? Because I'm not rich. There are times I struggle. There are times that are bad. There are times that are good. There are times that are great. But on the lows, I have to question myself. Now, as a person hands me this, they say, take this. Do what you need to do. I love you. Deserving. I feel like at times, wow. You got something to say? I want you to speak up.
Oh yeah, wow, what a powerful story. It just happened out of nowhere.
Well, the person I was on the phone with sent that person to me. And that person lives on state. But they sent the person to me that was blood related to them. And I kept questioning myself. I'm not deserving. Some of us believe that. We're not good enough for somebody to pay attention to us, to notice, or to hear us so as to listen. So I have a hard time with this. I am deserving. I am deserving. I want to tell you another thing. There are many women and men too. And the men and the women have been brutalized, assaulted in various ways, neglected, abandoned, and you start to believe in your consciousness, what did I do to deserve that? You see how it works? What did I do to deserve? See, that's the what there. We still have to, I question myself backwards. Because when good happens to me, I question it.
What? Why?
You know, why did that happen? What did I do? But I want you, and those who are listening to me, because I know that you do, you are deserving. You are deserving for all good to happen to you. If it's out of your hands, you have no control. But I don't want you to question, and you work on this with me, promise me that you're deserving. Because here's what we do to ourselves. We sabotage ourselves. How do we do this? We say, I don't deserve it. Had I not accepted that, I would have had no groceries, no gas. At that moment that it was happening to me, I was questioning myself with this. And I flipped it because I didn't feel deserving. Took a break for a minute, excuse me, because we could be saying this. Let's avoid that. Is it easy for me to sit here and tell you to avoid it when I just told you 2 weeks ago I was feeling this way? I'm telling you, real feelings. Another one I like is strength and value. How do you look at yourself when you need the strength? I'm going to relate another story to you all, valuing your strength. I'm going to put it over here. Bear with me. Value your strength. Something has happened. You've had a challenge this week, 5 minutes ago, last week. And you know that you have a responsibility. I'm going to talk to you mothers for a moment and fathers. Or maybe you're going through something. You're so stressed out, you don't know what you're going to do. But little Timmy, little Erica has to get to school. Have you ever been at such a low ebb that you find the strength to get your children where they need to be? Have you experienced that? I know you have. Go ahead.
Every parent has.
Every parent has done that. Speak up, because I want them to hear you.
We know we have to do what we have to do and do right by these kids.
Absolutely. Affirmation. Because they're relying on us. I've been so depressed, sometimes suicidal. My kids were young, they didn't know that. I found the strength to get them to school, to get them to whatever they needed to do at that point. You see what we do to ourselves? And we need to look at that and feel celebratory for those moments. Because it is a hard thing. Affirm that we have inner strength. Right? So we've got that. Let's talk about positivity physically. How many of us go to the gym? I don't. You go to the gym?
Not as much as we need to. No.
If anyone that is on our live goes to the gym, because we all do it, we know it's a normal, right? We will get that in before we do anything else. Who says that you gotta look like Barbie? Who says you gotta look like the next top model? You know, people diet. And I'm not going to judge anybody who diets. But do you know the people who are always on the diet, and they will tell you, oh, I'm on a diet. And some of them will tell you that begrudgingly, as if they don't want you to eat a hamburger. But dieting is not the punishment. Now, if you want to not diet, you don't have to. But we live in a society that tells us you're not perfect because your body is a 160, 100 plus. Because you say, the people on the commercials, they don't look like that. The models in the books, they don't look like that. I want her body. I want you to be body positive. I want you not to meet a standard the way everybody else sets it for you. I want you to be the person that holds their own standards, because why? Say it with me. I am enough. Even if you don't believe it today. But when you think about body positive, How do you feel about that? We all have setbacks. How many setbacks have I had in the last year? Too many to count. Too many to count. But when we have setbacks, I want you to go back to this. I am enough. We can't hear you.
I am enough.
Okay, because you believe it now. I'm enough. You know, I've had a lot of setbacks in life. Tired physically, drained emotionally, mentally, just cannot take another thing. I need a break. I needed to take a break from our Finally Fridays. Why? Because there was a hustle and bustle and there's so much going on in your own personal life. I needed to take a break. Why? Because I'm enough. I've done enough. I needed to take the rest. But the setback does not define who I am. Because I'm here today. And you're here today. And those of you who are online, you're here today. Now let's get back to our favorite subject, because we know we all like to talk about relationships, right? We say that begrudgingly. Relationships make us feel good, right? Well,
They can.
Go ahead.
They can make us feel good.
Okay. And how so?
I don't know. I think we just put our needs into other people, and we think that they are the ones that are going to fix them or solve them. And the temporary, it feels good.
Yeah. But the storm is coming. Are you still feeling good?
No.
What breaks that?
I think any change, a shift in the dynamic.
Shift in dynamic. I love that word. When anything dynamic. Let's talk about that. Shift in dynamic. Because it starts to affect us. Our guest here today has said what? She said, relationships feel good. We depend on the people. We depend on them. They're going to make or break us, right? But then something starts to happen and the storm comes and we feel like what? Can't get out of bed, heartbroken. We feel like life is not worthy. Go ahead, add to it if you'd like.
I think you're covering them. Yeah, you're getting them.
Yeah.
We don't know who we are.
Yeah. And it starts to deplete. Minus. Not adding to I am enough. Depletion of self. Yeah, we don't know who we are. We start questioning ourselves. We start to say, I wasn't good enough. Relationships, I'll tell you about relationships. In a relationship, I actually married the person. In such a relationship where it was emotionally abusive. And I remember one night, that's why I want to go to here, because you can feel on top of the world, ladies and gentlemen. We both have emotions. We both, I'm fine, everyone who's online. We all have emotions. But the moment change of shift, the other person's behavior changes us from what we know to be true. I am worthy. I value the strength that I have. I'm deserving. You see the shift? You see how that works?
Yes.
And then we start to question what we believe about ourselves. One person can do that. I'm going to go back to the story because I know you all want to hear it. I remember one night, we were going through some changes, my ex-husband and I, going through some changes. You know, I mean, love was great. Love was cloud nine. But that behavior, the behavior of the person, started to deplete me. I cried so hard, and I will never forget this. I was on my knees. I cried so hard that there was no more cry to the cry that I was crying. And it was deep, people. And for some reason, I've always protected myself from that kind of hurt. Okay? And I've missed out on a lot of other people's behavior. I'm writing this. Behavior has a lot to do with why, you know, I do this. Why we feel minus we're not enough. Other people. Let's move away from girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, or whatever relationship you got out there. You want to talk about who we are. It can be one thing or two things that are said to us by the people who say they love, they care for us, they'll shelter us, they clothe us, and they do something very damaging to us that questions I and now. We start to question ourselves. How about you?
Yes, I think that anybody that's been in a relationship with anybody else has given them the power.
You know, when we think about people and their imperfections, we are all copies of our parents. I want to tell you something as I sit down. You know, you may look at your daughters, your sons, and you say to your daughters and your sons, you look just like your dad. You look just like me. That can be good. Because there's nothing wrong with that. Especially because it's awesome that another creation that you birth could look like that. But do you do it in a demeaning way of saying, every time I see you, you look just like him, you look just like her, and the behavior starts to do what? Deplete from, I am enough. Let me tell you why. Because if your son or your daughter looks just like that person, and you really have had a lot of hurt from that person, you may not feel like you want to be tied to that person. That's why every time they walk in the door, they look just like the person that has hurt you, that has made you feel invalid, that has made you feel unworthy. And I want to remind you of something else. That person is not the person who's hurt you. And why do I want to talk about this? Because I know from sessions with people that they've had this issue. And I don't want that to be for you. I want you to give that child. I want you to give that child a head start. You might look like your dad. You might walk like him, stand like him, eat like him. You might look like your mom. Same hair color, same way you talk. But you're not them. Your child is not that. You may have been told that in life. And you may have had love withheld because you looked like that person. Some people have even given up their children based on that. I'm not going to cry today like I already did, but I can get deep with this. So affirmations are so important in reminding you of your core worth, me of my core worth, and me thinking about who and what I am. You see, go ahead. Nobody gets the right to tell me what my core worth is. Even if it looks like it's something, you don't get the right to say, who do you think you are? I said this last week at the women's workshop. Who are you trying to be? Because my actions, what I've done in the past, does not define my worth. Even what you do in your future does not define your worth. Some of us need a little bit of help to find out and question ourselves as to, what will I do with myself? We compare ourselves to others. We compare ourselves, we contrast. You're not that person. You don't have the experience that person has had. You know, we say, well, why does a person feel that way? That person shouldn't do that. But have you ever talked to the person that you may feel has a certain behavior? Maybe they were born in life feeling like they weren't enough. Maybe it was those people who were supposed to protect them that made them somehow feel that way. Everybody is not an attention seeker. And everybody who says, oh, I look great, I'm this, and all these people that you look at on Instagram, because we all do it in social media, they look great, they're doing these beautiful tutorials. They're not okay inside. Some of them, did I state that right? Some of them are not okay. It's an appearance of who they're trying to be. You know, they say beauty is skin deep. But when the lights are out, can you really look at yourself? After you just made all that money for your tutorial, because people are getting paid a lot of money these days to be able to do tutorials. But I'm telling you, as I'm sitting in this room with all of you, I'm telling you to check into yourself and ask yourself, am I enough? Even after you do all these things, you know, many people, and I want to talk about the physical beauty for a change, because nobody wants to be ugly. No one wants to be ugly. There are some very beautiful people that are in the heart and they're still working on themselves, or they're still dissatisfied with themselves. We have to start believing in ourselves. Nobody, no human living is perfect. No human living is perfect. And I say that because we are in a world that markets you need to be perfect. You need to be perfect. And whoever's telling you that is not perfect in themselves. I want to talk about you and self-acceptance. Self-acceptance. When we think about looking at ourselves, doing the other. Self-acceptance. How are we doing with self-acceptance? Look at ourselves. Many of us say what? Start getting yourself together in the morning or whenever you do it. You say, what about yourself? I don't like my nose. I hate the color of my eyes and my hair. Oh my goodness. Then we go on. Thus and so serve for. But must you be perfect? And I say that to you men and women that spend hours. You spend hours on yourself. And it's okay to spend hours on yourself. But you look just like the other people that have spent hours on themselves. Can I ask you this? I'm closing. Almost closing. Your imperfection is the version of you that you may not like. I look at myself and I think about myself. You know, I'm getting older. I'm 58. I like my hair blonde. Today it needs to be done. I'm not perfect. Because every time you look at yourself, you're going to remind yourself of what? I'm not perfect. I don't look like Barbie. I don't look like Ken. Because they're perfectly modeled. That's a doll. You are a human. And your self-acceptance means that you're going to have imperfection. You're going to have black hair, brown hair, red hair, green hair. Today is anybody's guess. But have you accepted and approved of yourself inside? Because no one knows how you really feel in the inside. No one really knows that. But I'm going to ask you and the yous out there, have you really accepted flaws? Flaws. Flaws are freckles. I have a sister who has freckles. I wish I had freckles. Red-headed kids who you used to always make me feel like, wow, that's so cool to have red hair, naturally red hair, or blonde hair. You know, we're all stuck on blonde hair, and I like blonde hair because mine looks great. I love it without the compliments. But can we be okay with if we had red hair, if we were born that way?
Sometimes I feel like we're not okay with what we're born with. We always like what we don't have.
Yeah, that's the point. Mm-hmm. Can we accept that? You know, I wasn't born, perfect. I'm short. I was born with a birth defect, congenital birth defect. But I've accepted that part of myself. And I've told my mother for the life of me, that isn't where my problem started. See, when I know what my problem started from, it isn't because I didn't accept that, my right hand was born with no fingers. That doesn't stop me. That doesn't stop me. I don't wish, when I look at other people, I wish I had my other hand. You know what I'm glad for? That I have that hand, because you know what? The hand has been my survival story. Whoops. I'm going to get that in there somewhere. Survival story. Your flaws. Because you know what people say? Wow! Just like I said, when I see freckles, you're so cute! Or when I see a red-headed kid, oh, I love redhead. You know what people say about my flaws that you can see? Wow, you are amazing! You can drive a car, you can tie your shoes. They're amazed. So what did I do? I started to believe I was enough. Because that very flaw in me was what the people noticed. Yeah, they noticed. You have a flaw. You know, it's just like somebody that has a stain on their shirt. We notice it, and what do?
We look at it.
Yeah! So I used to think that was a bad thing. And that made me reject myself. Reject myself. But as I got older, it reversed. Because you know what the people start saying? You are inspiring. Do you see what we can do with I am enough? We have to learn this. Because you know what? I could have been born with no legs, blind, not being able to hear, see, smell. And I look at other people and I go, wow, that's amazing. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I am enough. I want to thank everybody who's walked through these doors. We have a guest here. Thank you for coming every day, regardless of anybody walking in here. We will have Finally Friday. It's open to anybody. Why do we need this? To remind ourselves. Because we are walking around here, ladies and gentlemen, can I tell you, there's so many gyms. I'm not mad at all the people that go to gym, go to their classes, do what they have to do. But I'm telling you, be enough for yourself. We come here, you're going to meet people. You're going to be uplifted. You may learn something that you never learned before, you never thought of before. And for the people who feel like that they couldn't take one more day, it might just save you. And you might just say, wow, I'm so glad that I heard that. So I take it seriously. This is somewhere where you don't have to pay. We accept donations. All the donations that we do, they're going to help somebody else. Because there's really people who come and they can't. We want this community to develop awareness of emotional and mental health. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot stress it enough. We're so busy aligning ourselves with what looks good and what does not. But who knows what the person next door, outside, in the restaurant, who knows what they're dealing with? I want to tell you this in clothing. Don't judge a book by its cover. And I'll tell you this, and I'm going to leave names out because it is a national story. And it is from a very popular entertainment show. There was a news journalist, beautiful, everything going for herself. I mean, shoot, you get a job like that, everybody's happy, right? Because you're going to be making buku bucks. She didn't feel like she was enough. She jumped out of quite a few flight of tall buildings. Just jumped out the window. Everybody was like, what happened? How could she? The part that you forgot is that beauty is within. Just because I may look good on the outside, you may look good on the outside, he may look good on the outside, all is not well in the inside. And you know what happens? Nobody questions it. We look at pretty people. Marilyn Monroe. We all idolize her. We all may have pictures. we think, wow, she was so gorgeous. But did you all know that that wasn't really her name? Did you all know that she didn't really have blonde hair? They made her into that. And that's why I say to all of you today that are listening, because see, this is going to go national, and this is the only part of what we do. We record this because it's public. We don't record personal sessions. I beg of you to think about it. And the next time you wish to look like somebody else, do you really ask them how they're doing, how their day's been? Because maybe they're wishing to be like you. Maybe they are. And you have no idea. So I beg of you to think of yourself as you are enough. And if you're not today, remind yourself that you are worthy. That you've had times of strength. That you didn't know how you got the strength. You don't have to be the parent to muster up strength. Remind yourself you're deserving. I moved into a beautiful condo. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know if I was going to get that condo. I hated where I lived. And even when I filled out the application, I didn't believe I was going to get it. Because you know what I kept doing to myself? Sabotaging myself. I shouldn't have this. But I wanted to get out of the place I was living in. Because I had some health concerns. I had safety concerns. I prayed about this place. I'm living in that place. And every morning when I wake up, I try to remind myself I'm worthy. I'm struggling with that still. So I want you who are listening to me for this day to remind yourself each and every day that you are accepting of your flaws. It could be worse. That because other people have behaviors, it doesn't shift in your dynamics. Why does it have to change because someone else wants to act the way they do? Their behavior is not your problem. And your behavior is not their problem. I want you to think about accepting yourself, not EXCEPTION. It's ACCPTION. Accepting your worth. Thank you guys so much for joining. This is a community project. Pass it on. You have whiteboards. You have so many things that you can do. You can come down, volunteer. You can ask me things. We accept donations. We even accept, so that you guys know, let's say you want to bring some art materials, because I love working with our art program, Expressions Through Art. I want to remind everybody, you want to bring something down, because I want to have a group of us be able to do some fun things so we can let the community know. I want to talk to some artists. If you know of anybody that you want to have be a guest speaker, I'll take them. I want to know what they're doing, because we've got some pretty inspiring people around us. People that we've never even known has some kind of a talent. And we all do. I want to thank everybody who supports this. My guests today, thank you for coming. It was a nice surprise. Thank you. I try to remind anybody who's been involved with the Healing Center that it's here on Friday. It's going to be ongoing. Let's say you come today, maybe next week you won't be able to make it. And it's every day. Doesn't cost you a thing. Doesn't cost you a thing. Some days there are people that don't come, and some days there will be. We are online. For those of you who may hear us for the first time, do the QR codes, because many people want to know, okay, where is it online? It's self-explanatory. Take your camera with your QR code, and you'll land right here. I'm going to open it up on Friday, 15 minutes before. Let's say, okay, I can't get here today for whatever reason. You can always join us online. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it.